Hello and welcome back to the Sapphire Star. We are on episode 3 of 10 in our Live 2D Cubism full body VTuber tutorial series. Now that we have went over all you need to know before working in Live 2D Cubism and covered what you should check in your PSD file before moving on to Live 2D Cubism, we're finally ready to upload our model into Live 2D Cubism and begin organizing our files so that they are rig ready. First, let's download Live 2D together. Step number 1 will be to go to the Live 2D Cubism website and you can download the free trial that's valid for 42 days. Now, you can use this version, but once the 42 days is up, you may have limited features or limited access to exporting your model. Although, I do believe it is very possible to get done your very first VTuber model within 42 days. So we'll click this big orange button, and if you're interested in downloading the full version, I do actually have a coupon code that you can find in the description or in the pinned comments that you are free to use. Happy early birthday!
For me?
What are you?
Next, we'll scroll down and make sure we check the consent to the software license agreement, and you'll download the latest version. There is Mac and Windows. I'll be downloading Windows 4.2.03. No matter when you're watching this video, it should still be quite applicable to whatever version number you're using. After we click that button, it will begin downloading. You'll probably get a pop-up. You can click yes, and we're gonna put ours in English. Go to next, I agree, next, and install. Once it's done being installed, you can launch Live 2D Cubism Editor, and we'll dive right in. This is what Live 2D Cubism will look like when you open it up. Your layout might be a little bit different than mine, so in order to move windows, you can click and drag them around. So I encourage you to pause the video now and organize them to look like mine so that you don't get confused throughout the series. So the first step is going to be to import our PSD file. Remember the one you made from last video? Well, we're going to use that now. And we'll go up to File, Save As, and you'll save it somewhere you can easily access it. I'm going to save it to my desktop. And make sure it's saved as a .psd, as that is what is compatible with Live 2D Cubism. Once we go back to Live 2D Cubism, you can go ahead and select File, New, Model, and I usually go up to File, Canvas Settings, and I will make the canvas settings the same that I had in my Photoshop file. So when you go to your file, you'll check what the canvas settings are. Mine is 6164, so I'm just gonna highlight that, Command C to copy it, navigate back in, Command Paste, and then we'll go back to Photoshop and back to Cubism and put in the same pixel dimensions. I'm going to use scroll wheel to zoom out, and next I'll navigate to where my model is. Go ahead and click and drag the Photoshop file onto the canvas. It may take a while to load, so go get a cup of tea, maybe grab your favorite snack. My favorite snack is strawberry Pockies. And oh, we got it. Dang it, looks like no strawberry Pockies for me. Next, I will select the untitled model file that we open and click OK. Make sure to add all layers as a new art mesh. We'll need an art mesh to make sure that our model is moving appropriately. Click OK. And actually, this is probably the part where you want to get your Pockies. Oh man, we're loading quickly today. Fantastic. Now that we have everything in and ready to go, we can start organizing our layers. Now before you do that, I know many people ask, what if I have additional clothes or items or accessories I want to add? Now I have some of those here, and as well as face expressions turned off in my Photoshop layers. I even have additional outfits. This is the other outfit that I have separated into its own parts, as well as a different hairstyle. It's fine to have all that on. I usually have it turned off. Then you can select a piece of your model, and it should drop down everything that you have. For the pieces that are turned off, you can turn them back on if they're hidden when you need to do so. Now, if you want to add an accessory to your model, we'll go to File, Save As, and you'll save on top of the same PSD that you used to originally drag in to Live 2D Cubism. So you'll save that, and then when you're ready to replace it, you'll go ahead and click and drag and do the same thing. And Live 2D Cubism will ask you where you want to put the PSD. Again, we're going to select our current model and we'll select Replace. And it should replace the new pieces and update the current file, and you shouldn't lose any of your progress that you've already worked on. So we'll go ahead and click OK. Next, before we do anything else, we'll want to save our model. So you'll go to File, Save As, and I created a folder called Live2D_Sapphire, and I made the file name Live2D_Sapphire V001. It's very important to have version numbers. V stands for version, as we will be making multiple version numbers so you can go back to earlier models in case there's something that you liked that you lost from an earlier version. Go ahead and click save and we'll overwrite it. Now we are ready to organize our parts. So I'm going to delete any layers that I don't need in here. These extra ones that I have are just like for personal use. I have this full version of Sapphire in one of her other outfits just for making graphics and such when I'm advertising on Twitter and things like that. So I'm just gonna delete all the layers that I don't need, and we'll want to start dropping down everything. So something I like to do is pulling up another model for reference. This is an earlier version of Sapphire that I modeled to see which part things are assigned to if you get confused. So what we're going to be doing is assigning parts to every single piece of the model. You can also go to the Live2D website, go to the downloads, and download the Live2D sample models if you need to reference them for any part throughout this video. We're going to download Hiyori so that we have her as a reference. We'll go to File, Open, and open Hiyori Pro EN so we have the English version to be able to reference if you're not quite sure where something goes. So we're going to have to unlock everything over here so that they can be selected, which in fact you can lock anything that you need to on your own model in case you want it to not be moving. Now we'll select the eye and we'll see what part it is assigned to. So first we'll focus on the eyelashes. The eyelashes are assigned to the part section. So we'll navigate back to our model and we'll select all the eyelashes. You can hold shift click while you select them all or do them individually, although this will be much faster. And we're going to select part, scroll all the way down and find eye. Now what will happen is it will be moved behind to a default drawing order of 500. So draw order is kind of like how layers work in a drawing program. The higher the number, the more on top it will be, and the lower number, the more below and on bottom it will be. So we're going to change everything for the eyes to a max of 1000 in the draw order section here, and we'll have to do that for anything else when we change the draw order and move them around. Next, let's go to the right eye and do the same thing with the eyelashes. We're going to click the top, hold down shift and select all the eyeliner, and we're going to switch this part to, we'll scroll down and select eye, and then we'll change the draw order to 1000. Next, let's hop back to our example model and select the eye. Select the base eye to see what it's under. That is also under eye, so we'll flip back and we'll select the eye whites and turn those to 1000. And select part and change this to eye as well. And we'll also change this draw order to 1000. We're going to do the same for this eye white. Select it, change to eye, and then let's change the draw order to 1000. Next, let's go back to Hiyori and check out where the iris is, and the iris and the eye highlights are actually all on eyeball instead of eye. Go back to our main eyes and we're going to select all of these and drop them into the eyeball section. And we'll also change the draw order to 1000. And we're going to do this with the rest of the eye pieces. I also actually want to change the eyelid to eye instead of eyeball. And we'll change the draw order, don't forget, to 1000. And it looks like it's still not on top, so I'm going to select back to my eye white and select this to be 990 so that it goes behind the eyeball. And we're going to select this eye white and also change that to 990 so that it doesn't happen with the other one as well. Whenever you see these little speed paint sections, I will pretty much be mirroring what I just did if it was the eye or the other ear or whatever the case may be. But if you need to slow down the video, you can do that so that you can see what I'm doing and follow along. And now I'm going to change the eyelash to actually 995, so we're kind of going to do an in-between. I'm going to pull the pupil back to 992 so that the highlight actually comes in front. So again, it just kind of works like layers. You can use whatever number works well for you. Just make sure everything's looking right with your draw order, and you can always go back to your Photoshop file to check for reference. Once I'm through with a folder, I'll usually close it up so I know that it is done. The eyes should be done, and for the eyebrows, we're going to move them to the brows. And then of course we'll put these on top with a 1000. Next, I'm going to go to the face gems, and I'm actually going to attach these. Any extra face accessories I'd say are usually good to attach to the face, and I want these to be on top again. So we're going to choose 990 for the gems, and I'm going to want the hair in front of the gems, so that's why I chose draw order 990 for those ones. For the baby gems, we'll do the same thing. We'll do 990, and we're going to go ahead and move these down to the face. For any facial expressions, we'll also put that on the face part, and I'll make sure that this is on top as well. It's gonna look a little freaky throughout, but that's fine, we're working on it. And because the choker is attached to the neck, I'm gonna assign it to the neck part. So we're gonna select all of these guys again, and we're gonna scroll down and select neck, and I'm gonna turn this to 1000 because I want it to be on top as well. We'll do the same thing with the other ones. We'll close choker. Next is the necklace. The necklace I'll also actually attach to the neck, so we'll select both of those If anything's acting weird with it later, then you know you might need to change it. So that's kind of, you just keep these things in mind while you're working at it. Next we'll go to the pink shirt, the pink skirt. The pink skirt's actually turned off right now. This is for one of her other outfits. I will organize it for now. We'll just select those and move those to the body and put those on top as well with 1,000 for now. And we'll make sure they're turned off because we don't want to see that outfit at the moment. Same thing for the rest of her clothes. We're just going to move all those into the body part. As we're speeding through here, I just want to remind you how proud of yourself you should be. This takes a lot of work, and if you're feeling frustrated or confused, remember you can always rewind the video, and there are several resources here on YouTube and on the Live2D website. Remember to save your work, super duper important because you don't want to lose things. Next we'll go to the legs, and for the legs they're also going to be a part of the body. So let's do that next. And now we'll navigate back up to the face and select the mouth. Again, I'm going to delete layers we don't need in here. I'm going to go ahead and select all of those, and we're going to drop down the parts and select mouth. And again, make sure that's on top. Next, we'll do the nose. We're going to select all the nose pieces, drop open the part, and select, you guessed it, nose. We're going to go 990. And this is all the cheek painting and the face and the highlights and stuff that I have in here. And I'm going to select all those and actually add that to the face. And if you have your own layers, name these things. Make sure you're choosing the ones that are in Live2D Cubism. They're usually scrolled like at the bottom. This is just an issue I've ran into. This is the reason I do it this way, is to make sure everything's working smooth, flowing. And I'm actually going to navigate back to the blush because it's like in her irises, and we're going to go ahead and change that to 985. Okay, perfect. For her collarbone and her upper chest and all that, that's also going to go into the body section. Next, we're going to do the arms, so we'll go ahead and select all these guys and put them into the body as well. Next is going to be hair. So for the hair side, these are going to be all side pieces of hair. We're going to open that part and select hair side. So these actually do kind of have a little bit more specific directions. And I actually kind of misnamed some of my stuff here. So like should be hair behind. So I'm going to select those two and select hair back because it's going to be in the back, and then we'll change that layer to send it in the backs. For the neck, we'll go ahead and drop down and select neck. And my character actually doesn't have human ears, but she does have wolf ears, and that's fine. We can just put that in the ear section. And for her really, really big bow, we're just gonna keep that in the back and attach that as well to hair back because it's kind of attached to the back of the hair. For all of our extra pieces of hair, we're just going to keep that turned off right now, and I'll worry about that a little bit later. For her wolf tail, this is also going to be attached to her body, so we'll attach that one to the body as well. And for the hair bangs, we will put that under bangs, and we'll make sure that's in front as well. Awesome, so we got everything organized and in their order. Everything should be pretty much out of your PSD file at this point and into these part folders that Live2D should have given you, and if not, just reset your file until you get those folders. Next, we'll want to assign clipping ID. So as you can see, once we start moving around the eyes, we do not want that to happen. So we're going to clip the eyes, is going to be our first part. We're going to open clipping ID, and we're going to select the eye white right. We're going to highlight this and then Command C to copy it. And we're going to go to all of our eyes that have to do with eye right and select those and paste in that clipping ID. And I have these right selected. I also need these two, so I'm going to paste it there as well. And then I also have these two guys up here where we will paste it in. Now, when we select the eyeball, you can see that it won't go outside of the white, which is really great because when we look over, we don't want that to be poking out. So we're going to do that with the other eye as well. Next, we'll select the eye white L, and then we'll go to all of our L eyes, highlight those. We're going to copy the clipping ID from there, go to all of our L eyes, and paste in that clipping ID, and same for the other L's in here. That should be everything, and then we can go ahead and test it by dragging it around. Perfect. That's good to go there. And the last part that I'm going to do for mine specifically is the constellations. I want them to be clipped to all of the back hair, so we can actually select multiple at once. So I'm going to select this back hair, and then hold down Control and click that back hair, and we're going to open this and go find all those. Here they are. Let's select all of those, and then we'll double click and Command C, copy those, and then go to our constellations and paste in, and then click enter. Make sure you click enter, super important. We also want to make sure that these are on the correct drawing order, which I'm going to change that now. Awesome, we should be good to go with assigning parts. Next, we're going to learn about generating mesh. This is really important so that you can animate your VTuber or your character to look the way that you want and to give you the most control that you can have. So you can select your whole VTuber or character or click Control A to make sure that you're selecting everything. And here is an auto generator, and here's if you wanted to do a specific piece manually, but you'd want to select something individually if you're going to go in and do it manually. I like to start with the auto as it does a pretty good job with the start. You can deform with a littler amount or a heavier amount. This depends on how far you want to customize your model and how you're taking it. You can try experimenting with both, but I'm going to go ahead and do little for this one. Once it selects it, it may take a few moments. You can click add. Once it adds it, you can see how there's a lot more dots now in here covering everything. Now let's talk about a few pieces that could be a little bit better, or how you would edit the mesh to make it smoother. So for the eyebrows, we're going to go into the manual mesh edit, and it's going to go ahead and isolate it. We have a bunch of tools down here that we can use. So to erase the dots, you can select this eraser tool and just click and drag. This little plus pen here is to add points. This is to take away points. For the eyebrow, you'll want to create a straight line with evenly spaced dots through the brow to get your best chance once we are editing it. Next, we want to go up, make sure you go well above the mesh and start creating triangles. Triangles are a really great way to keep the mesh even and so that it will deform nicely. So we'll do the same down here. I'm going to bring mine a little bit further, and then we can connect both rows. And if you wanted to move them out or space them around, you can select the arrow key to click and drag and move the points around. Alright, then you'll click check mark, and this will make it so it's easier once we go in later and we'll want to do the same exact thing to the other eyebrow. Another one that would be a good one to redo is something like the eyeliner. Now, the eyeliner is very similar to the brows. We'll do the same concept. So we can go up to our editing tool, we will erase everything, and we'll grab our little plus tool and we'll go through with the even dots across the eyeliner, and then we'll do our triangles. And then we can close everything again. And we'll do the same for all the other pieces. So we'll click the bigger one and we'll go ahead and edit. We'll erase. We'll do a straight line through. Now we'll try to follow the curve of the lash. We'll do some triangles. Make sure, remember, the triangles go above where the artwork is. It's very important. We can connect everything. Perfect. And we'll do the same with the lower two lashes. So once more, we'll edit, erase. Triangles, super duper simple. This is a good one where you can just jam to some tunes, like turn on your Spotify if you have it, or YouTube Music, something like that, because you might be here for a little while. This one definitely needs some help. We're gonna go in there and erase that, get our little plus. Very simple. And of course, the more even you get, the better. And then we'll just do the same on the other side. Next, we'll take a look at the eye white. We'll go to the edit and go ahead and erase everything. Spooky, we can see the eye underneath. Okay, so a good place to start is kind of right where the shading between the top layer and the eye white is. And if you don't have that, you can just kind of go through the middle somewhere. And then we'll do one that's straight along the top here, and then one that's going straight along the bottom here. And then we can just connect everything. And then we'll do the other side. Next, we'll take a look at the mouth. We're gonna start with the middle piece and I'll do the lips next. So let's go ahead and edit. We're gonna hit our eraser tool. We'll go in and you'll wanna have kind of as tight as pieces as you can through the middle because the mouth will be deformed pretty heavily and you'll wanna make the most of your deformation. So try not to use a limited amount of points. The more will be better. And we'll do the same concept that we did for the eyes and the eyebrows where we try to make even triangles and we'll connect everything. It's a very similar technique. Alright, and then for the lips, we'll go in and we'll go ahead and edit and again click our eraser tool. And for the lips, I'm going to kind of do a similar thing that I actually did for the eye whites. So we're going to kind of go along the middle here, follow the curve of the shape if you can, and we'll go out. I actually want this one to go out a little bit more too. And then we'll do one for the bottom, and I just kind of try to match like the points, so that should be to that, that should be to that when I'm going across. And then we can connect those, and then we'll do the same thing for the top. So kind of go around, and then we'll connect everything. And if I start editing this later and it's not really deforming correctly, we can always come back in and change it. You'll get a better understanding once we start learning how to deform, about how you can do these custom meshes and when they would help. So this is something again that you'll kind of learn with time. I know it's hard to feel confident about that sometimes, especially when you're just starting. You kind of want to know the answers of exactly the perfect or right way to do something, and the truth is you might not know until you try it. And it's also going to be different. It can be different for different models depending on their intensity and the look that you're going for. So at least having a starting point and trying from somewhere is a good idea. And then we'll click check, and we're just going to do the same thing for the bottom lip. Let's go in. For the next pieces, not everybody has like the teeth and the tongue. It depends on your model, but I would do a similar thing as to what we were doing with the eyebrows for something like teeth that goes straight across. For the mouth, again, because it's kind of that circle shape like the eye white, we'll do the same thing we did with the lips and the eye white. And for the tongue, same concept as the mouth as well, where we'll do it like the eye white. So I'll go ahead and do a speed mesh section here, and you can feel free to slow down the video to see what's going on. Alright, now that we got all of our meshes edited or either auto-generated, and also if there's ever a piece of your model that like disappears and you see the mesh, something that you can do to fix that is click on it and then go back into the auto mesh and switch between the different presets until it fills itself up. You can also mess around with some of the numbers in there until you get the pieces to appear again. Alright, so next we will create a texture atlas, which is this button right here for our textures to lay out onto a flat plane. You can leave this as a default name or name it something specific, and then for the width and height you can choose any of these numbers you think will fit. I'm going to choose the biggest number because I know that my model has a lot of space to work with, and I'll give you a better rule of thumb once we get in here, but this will take a while to load, so again, you may want to take a break or walk away from your PC. Alright, once everything is loaded in, the first thing to check is to highlight all of the pieces in here and make sure the scale says 100. If it's not, you want to go back to where you were choosing that pixel size and go up until you can get your scale to 100% without anything flowing over the edges of the canvas. Next, we don't want any of our pieces overlapping in here, so if you see anything overlapping, make sure you give it some space or move it around, otherwise it will not read correctly. once you move your model over into a program that can run it. So for example, this piece of hair, it looks like it actually didn't even get red for some reason, which is the problem we were just talking about where things get deleted randomly. So we're actually going to have to exit back out of our texture atlas, cancel it, and go find that long piece of hair and add a mesh to it. See, it's invisible. So we'll go to auto, we'll drop this, and I'm going to click deformation little. And now I'm going to move it over again to see if it's there. It's not, so let's change it to the XD one. Let's change it to the deformation little, and now it is there. See how random it can be sometimes? Okay, so we'll go ahead and click X, and then we'll run our texture atlas again, and we're gonna have to wait for a little while. Now we are back in once more on the search to see if anything's overlapping. I gotta zoom in and like kind of scroll around, really look. If you're running out of space with your canvas, and you are already at the max, you can click add a texture and it will add another texture atlas here, and you'll be able to bring some of those other pieces over. So like I don't think all these pieces are gonna fit here, so I'm gonna click add texture atlas, and then we're gonna bring these pieces onto here. And again, make sure that none of them are overlapping. Something you can do is just put everything onto the canvas. Like I'm just gonna, this one we don't actually need there, that's just like her underneath. All right, so these pieces we don't need. These ones are all stacked here now. We can just click automatic layout, click OK, and then it should automatically separate it. Fantastic. Now we'll go back to our main one, and then we'll just click OK here at the bottom. And again, this will take quite a while. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Thank you so much for watching this episode, and on the next episode, we'll actually finally start modeling and moving things. We'll be modeling the eyebrows, the mouth, and the eyes, so buckle up and get ready for some rigging! I'll see you next time on the Sapphire Star. Bye!